Well, more on our top story now. Xenophobic attacks have now spread to Verulam, north of Durban. It comes after clashes in the city's CBD yesterday, where police arrested 12 people for public violence, possession of dangerous weapons and housebreaking. Now, government has pledged to protect everyone living in the country, be they South African or foreign. Home Affairs spokesperson Maihlome Tshwete is here with me on Morning News today. Maihlome, good morning. Thank you for your time. The Home Affairs Minister is part of the contingent, the cluster that is in Durban. What do you see as your role at this stage? What does Minister Malusi Gigaba see as his role at this moment, the way things are going?
Well, the President appointed the Minister to be part of a task team to try resolve some of these issues. The role is on different levels. Firstly, we must try stop the violence, and we must try protect human life. And then after that, we must work towards reintegration of those documented foreigners who've been displaced from their communities. Those are our two priorities right now. I think there's an important message we must communicate to the public, and that's that lawlessness will not be allowed. We understand people have their own opinions on certain issues, but taking matters into your own hands and behaving as they are is something that government is not going to take lightly. As you've just communicated, 12 people were arrested yesterday. Before that, 48 people were arrested. The security cluster has looked at opening the special court so that we can speed up the prosecution of those people involved in these kind of activities.
In terms of protection, and I mean just looking at some of these pictures that we've seen on the front pages this morning, and you can see the fear on people's faces, but you can also see the determination to protect themselves. Home Affairs in particular, and also in your talks with the other departments, what is your first step to protecting them? How are you going to do that, just, to protect foreigners here?
The security cluster yesterday released a statement speaking about the assigning of additional security authorities to the province of KZN. They've been taken from other provinces and they've been assigned there to make sure that we protect human life. So there are additional resources in the province to make sure that happens.
Now
I must also add that there's been community members who have also stood up against some of these activities. And it's not fair to say that the whole community is involved in this kind of activities. There are members of communities without any weapons who have stood on the side of people, who have assisted people in cleaning up, which displays to us that this is not a widespread South African sentiment. It's just the views of a few people that we are going to put behind bars.
In terms of King Goodwill Zwelithini, and you know that, many people are looking at him and saying, this possibly started with you and what you had to say. And you saw Iman Rapeti trying to get the KZN Premier to comment on this. And nobody seems to want to get him. Maybe he can fix it. Maybe he can go back and say to people, listen, I didn't mean this when I said all of this days ago. Is that not an option that you're looking at?
Well, I don't speak.
Is he not a big figure in this or a major role player?
I'm sure he is. And he is, but I don't speak on behalf of him. But what I can say that he has released a statement saying clearly that he doesn't support any form of violence. I think there's been a huge amount of excitement by the media to attach this thing to particular figures. One was Edward Zuma and the other was His Majesty King Zwelithini. But when we went to Isipingo, where it started, these were bread and butter issues. The community there was an issue of South Africans who were fired by a furniture shop, and then that furniture shop hired foreigners. So
it was a labor issue?
It was a pure labor issue.
From what you've heard?
No, from what we took from the situation when we were at Isipingo. So it was clear bread and butter issues. So I'm not an expert on whether his comments have made things worse, but I do know he's released a statement. And right now our priority isn't really looking at who's to blame. Those who are partaking in actions that they know are illegal, violence and incitement of that are going to be dealt with quite dearly.
The other sentiment out there is that, but by some people, is that there's mixed messages from government in terms of, yes, we need to stop the violence, we need we condemn this, but at the same time saying, yes, we need to sort out illegal immigrants in our country or people coming through our borders are porous. Is there not a mixed message there?
It isn't. You know what? There will be a time for nuanced communication. There will be a time for us to discuss the complexities of immigration and the impact of low-skilled people coming into South Africa and competing with people who are unemployed. There will be a time for that. And it is a reality. But right now, the priority, as I've said, is protecting human life. So, and from the minister and from the security cluster, that communication has been about protecting human life. So the time will come for us to have a discussion about immigration, and it's ongoing. But right now, the priority is protecting human life and holding those who partake in this kind of activity accountable. South Africa, by its nature, seems to have a very violent culture. We express ourselves violently. And we've seen this in a number of, even in protests, South Africans burn things down just to protest. We live in a democracy. You don't need to do that. You can have opinions about immigration. You can have views about the labor competition, but you cannot take matters into your own hand and violently strike out against others.
And it seems people are unaware of the rights of foreign nationals in our country as well.
No, they know.
They know.
It's opportunistic, but they'll be behind bars.
All right. Yeah. Thanks very much for that message. Loud and clear. Home Affairs spokesperson Mike Lometwete.